All right, so the rotations can be a little bit more complicated than reflections and translations, mainly because there's a lot of things that you need to consider when you're rotating something. Okay, the first thing you need to consider is what are you rotating it in reference to? Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to rotate something in reference to a pivot point, like point the vertex C right here. So rotation about a vertex, right? And in that case, whoops, didn't hold it. If I rotate it like this, the point C stays implanted while the rest of it rotates about point C. So point A and point B rotate about point C. All right, another way is if I had rotation about an origin. So say I have this thing right here, and I'm going to rotate this about that origin. I'm going to rotate it effectively just like this, about the pivot point of the origin. Right? So those are two different ways, and at that point, every point rotates about a point of reference. Okay? So let's talk about the first one first. Rotation about a vertex. Okay? So if it's going to be a 90-degree clockwise rotation, right? So clockwise, I'm rotating it this way, right, opposed to rotating it this way by 90 degrees. And what does that mean? That means that each one of these points, like this line segment here, is going to make up a 90-degree angle after it rotates this way. Okay, and this line segment is going to make up a 90-degree angle after it rotates this way with its new line segment. Okay, so I'm not really changing point C here, right? Point C is planted. That's my plant point, right? So I'm going to be making line triangle A prime, B prime, and then C. Okay, this is the new triangle that I'm making because A and B are moving, C is not. All right, so something you need to remember here is slope. Remember that the slope is the change in y over the change in x. Okay, and it's going to give me two different variations. And remember also that the slope perpendicular to the perpendicular line is the negative change in x over change in y. So you flop the numerator and the denominator and you change the sign. Right? That's what the negative means. It changes the sign. And here's an example. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this clockwise. I want to find a line segment that is perpendicular to line segment BC in that direction. Okay, so what is the slope of line BC? Not the measurement, but the slope. Right? This is going to be equal to my change in y, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, negative. It went down, so it's negative 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it went down 4, and it's going over 1, 2, 3. And it goes over 3. So the perpendicular line of BC is, remember, this negative sign can come down like that, right? So now it's flip it. It's going to be 3/4, and the negative sign changes to that. I should move this over. Let me move this work over a little bit. All right, so my slope of A, or excuse me, of BC was down 4 over 3, so negative 4/3, which equals negative 4/3, and the line perpendicular to that, BC, is flip it 3/4 and change the negative to positive. Okay, so this could be another way to write 3/4 is by saying negative 3 over negative 4. Okay, because negative divided by negative is a positive, right? So a positive, when both of these are positive, right? This is going to be a clockwise rotation. This will be a negative clockwise rotation. Well, that's why. Let's look at that, right? So starting from C, B could be either 1, 2, 3 up and over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or it could be 3 down, 1, 2, 3 into the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I did that one, it would make me a counterclockwise rotation. I want a clockwise rotation. So I'm going to pick the 3/4, which is up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is B prime. Okay? And let's go ahead and look at that line real quick. Where did my protractor go? Pause this while I look for my protractor. Right where I left it. Okay. So now this line is like this. And if I look at my angle here, I line that up with that, and you can see that it is right there at 90 degrees. Okay? So this is a 90-degree angle. All right, so that is my first line, my first point I have to rotate. My other point I have to rotate is the slope of AB. No, correction, AC, because my reference point is C. So AC, right? The slope of AC is going to be down 1, because it's changing Y, which is -1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's -1/5. Okay, so my new one is going to be, or this could be -1/5. Okay, so now my new point, which is going to be 90 degrees from this one, is going to rotate it that way. The perpendicular line to AC, I got to flip it. It's going to be 5/1. Change the sign, it's going to be positive, right? Or it could be -5/-1. We've already decided we need the positive changes, right? Because if we go 5 down, 1, if we go 1 down, 5 down, we're doing the wrong one first. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then over 1. That's a rotation the wrong way. That's a counterclockwise rotation, right? So I'm going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, like that. So this is A prime, and I'll make a little connection right here. Let me make this a different color. Okay, so initially I'm just going to make it that color so you can see that if I'm going to take my protractor and line up that line, I will find that it is 90 degrees difference between here and here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and make that purple. I'm going to use my protractor for this. Make that purple. There we go. And I will go ahead and connect those two there. And there's my rotation of a triangle. See, it went from here, and I'll rotate it from here to there, and it rotates pretty nicely. Okay? So that is a rotation about a point. Rotation about a vertex, I think, or about an origin, I think is easier. Okay? This is the way I want you guys to learn how to rotate this thing clockwise. Okay, so when you're doing, if you're doing it on a coordinate plane and you're rotating about an origin, or by the origin, you got to figure out what your x and y coordinates are. So this is, and then you got to flop them for each one of these points. So it's going to be y and x, and then y and x. Okay? If I'm going to rotate it clockwise, I make that negative. If If I rotate it counterclockwise, I make that negative. Okay, so let's go ahead and say I'm going to rotate this thing counterclockwise rotation. So it's going to go this way, about the origin. All right, let me look at triangle A. Well, let's just do it like this. Okay, so my point A, my point B, and my point, let's do it like this. A, B, and C. There we go. That's probably better. All right, and then my X and my Y for those respectively. Okay, all of these points are going to rotate. All right, so for A, my coordinate point is for X is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the negative direction. My B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the negative direction. And my C is -2. All right, and now let's look at the Y's. A is up 2. B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And C is up 1. All right, so those are all my points. 7 and -2, or -7 and 2 for A, -5 and 5 for B, and -2 and 1 for C. Just make sure you're checking that right every time. Now I'm going to rotate each one of these points using this rule here. Okay, so that's going to be my X, my new X, and my new Y for A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay, the first thing I got to do is change the X and the Y. Okay, so it's going to be -7, -5, and -2. Okay, see, I just take this X column and I put it in the Y column. Okay, now I'm going to take the Y column and put it in the X column. 2, 5, and 1. All right, now I need to change the signs of one of these. And since I'm rotating it this way, I have to change the signs for this, for what was the Y's. Okay, what was the Y's. Now I'm going to change the signs for each one of those. Okay, and those are my new points. All right, so A prime is going to be at -2, 1, 2, and -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's A prime. B prime is going to be at -5, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's B prime. And then C prime is going to be at -1 and -2. 1, 2, like that. All right, so if I go ahead and make my triangle, whoops, make this C prime, and there we go. There's my new rotated triangle about the origin. Okay, and it's rotated counterclockwise 90 degrees. So this table method works really well. It takes a little bit of practice to get the ebb and flow of this, right? So this is triangle A, B, C points, and this is A prime, B prime, C prime, using this method. Okay, that helps out a lot. I hope this is a longer video. Hope it makes sense for rotations. Rotations you just need practice with, and we'll get in a lot more examples later on.